It's been just over 2 weeks since Patrick Mahomes led the Chiefs to a Super Bowl win. So what is the 24-year-old doing to fill his time?
They're still drunk.
They know how to celebrate. I'll give you
No,
that.
apparently he's been watching the Mahomes Marathon on NFL Network. Mahomes posted this to Instagram with the comment, crazy! All of his trophies, they're right there on top of the TV, so he doesn't forget about them.
That's great. He's living the life, man. Enjoying it.
He may still be inebriated. Time now for stories to start your morning with
He
Philip
deserves
Rivers.
to celebrate.
How disappointed that
And
team
then
get up on the
get back
wall,
in
though.
training camp.
With Philip Rivers testing free agency, his former teammate Melvin Gordon has an idea for a landing spot. Gordon says he believes Rivers will sign with the Colts. Doug, is this a good fit?
I think it's the only fit. He's got to play indoors at this point in his career. Frank Reich is his former offensive coordinator back when they were in San Diego, so there's a relationship there. The Colts have a really good offensive line. He's the worst athlete at quarterback in the NFL. He was never a good athlete. Then he tore his ACL, and now he's in his late 30s. Look, he's a confident dude, and they are not confident Jacoby Brissett. I think it's the only fit. I agree with Melvin Gordon.
No, you said everything I was going to say. I think it's a great fit. If he's got anything left, it will work out. Because as you said, the relationship with Frank Reich, I think Reich has been great with quarterbacks. He was great with Rivers. Rivers had some of his best individual seasons there when Reich was the offensive coordinator. And like you said, you got the offensive line, one of the tops in the league.
Yes.
You got players on the edge, on the outside that can catch the ball. So I love him there.
I love Philip Rivers. He's a Hall of Famer. I think he's a better quarterback than Eli Manning.
Yes.
But last year, he was not good. He was guessing, and he was trying to guess, and he threw way too many interceptions. I'd love to see what happens if he has a better offensive line. And again, playing indoors, you cannot undersell. I know playing in L.A., you have great conditions. No better conditions than playing indoors.
Basically like indoors.
Yeah.
On to the NFL draft. The Miami Dolphins have the number 5 overall pick and a need for a quarterback. A recent report says the Fins are favoring Justin Herbert over Tua Tagovailoa. Chris, big mistake for the Dolphins to pass on Tua?
Look, I'd be happy for Tua. Although, look, I got to give Miami credit. They did have a nice comeback season. They played well, in the second half of the season. So I was going to say I'd be happy for Tua to go elsewhere, but I'm not going to disrespect the Dolphins like that because I think Brian Flores did a good job, and they may be headed in the right direction. But they're looking at this like, and I get it, we need a quarterback that's going to be here for the long haul. And they think that's Herbert. They're worried about Tua's injury history, which, he has. There's no question that history is there. He's already a small guy. I like Tua better. I do think it would be a mistake to draft Herbert over him, but I do get their reasoning.
Well, Herbert walks into a room, he's like a Greek god.
Right.
I mean, he looks the part. He throws a great ball. He's a great athlete. I do feel like there's something missing there. And they kind of earmarked Tua to be their guy going back before the season began, right? That was all the stories out of Miami, is they're tanking because they know this is their next guy. This would give me major pause if I'm looking at drafting Tua, whether it's the Chargers or whomever else kind of down the line.
Well, yeah, or the fact that the Dolphins like him.
The Dolphins, like they went.
That could also.
They went from in love.
You don't think that could be a smokescreen?
I guess, but I don't really understand the smokescreen if they're drafting ahead of other people. Somebody else wants to, or maybe they think Herbert is more valuable and somebody wants to trade up for him. But look, we talked to Tua down in Miami on the set of First Things First, and that was before this last MRI going back a week ago Monday, where he got good news. But even he doesn't really know. The doctors don't know how it's going to heal. So far, all reports are good, but he hasn't really thrown a football. He's not really doing football stuff. So I understand it, but it would give me caution and pause if I was going to draft him.
There is some pause there. On to Joe Burrow now. The Heisman Trophy winner and national champion is likely just 2 months away from adding another milestone to his resume, first overall pick. But with the Bengals all but guaranteed to draft the QB, Burrow isn't actually thrilled with the idea, saying, quote, look, this is a long process, right? They have their process that they have to go through, and so I am blessed to be in the position I'm in. If they select me, they select me. I'm going to do everything in my power to be the best football player I can be. Doug, what do you make of Burrow's lack of excitement for the Bengals to draft him?
Telling. I know he works with Jordan Palmer as his quarterback coach, and Jordan's brothers with Carson, and Carson has been on our shows and said, like, I don't know, I wouldn't play in Cincinnati.
They're not trying to
But there's But look, last year's first-round draft picks, a lineman, their line will be better. Joe Mixon is, I think, an elite-level running back. We'll see what they do with A.J. Green out wide and if they can replenish their wide receiving core. I don't think they're that far away from being competitive offensively. There's a relationship there with his dad, who's a coach, and the staff. He's from Ohio. I think it all makes sense. Look, dude, you got to put on the happy face here. You're not going to pull an Eli Manning. You're not going to pull a John Elway because this is the Bengals. They're drafting you, and if you don't want to sign, they're not trading you. It's the Bengals. It's different than any organization, maybe in all of professional sports. They're going to do what they do, and you're just going to have to figure it out. So you better put on a happy face and go like, hey, man, if I'm the first overall pick and they want to send me to Timbuktu or Cincinnati, Ohio, it's the greatest thing ever. It's the greatest thing ever. I think he's doing himself a disservice. You gotta walk in your first day of work and be like, okay, fine.
See, he's in, as you said, he's in a tough situation because he clearly doesn't want to play for the Bengals. And as you said, because Carson Palmer they said they don't want to win. They're not trying to win. And nobody wants to step into that type of an organization. But he's from, 2.5-hour drive away, Athens, Ohio. Cincinnati, all of Ohio is looking at him as the savior. That's not even to mention his time at Ohio State. I know he didn't play, but he's got the ties to that area. So this is like a dream scenario for the Bengals.
He's the savior.
And so what I think he's doing, Doug, I'm with you. He's not going to pull an Eli Manning. However, I think he's putting on the frown, to contrast your happy face, and he's acting like he doesn't want to play with them, which he doesn't. He's letting it be known so that hopefully they don't draft him, even though I'm with you, I think they will, and that he can go elsewhere. But I believe once they draft him, I believe all this will change. And I think he will go ahead like, look, I got to make the best of it. As you said, you got to recruit other players. You're now the leader of that franchise from a player standpoint. Yes. So you've got to build up the rest of your teammates. So, and he was great with that at LSU.
Right.
So I think this is just kind of, man, I really don't want to go there. Let me show it. And hopefully they don't draft me because they can see I don't want to go there. But once he's drafted, I think it'll all change and he'll be, look, I'm going to make the best out of this. And maybe if it, as you said, if they're not that far away and it does go well, then maybe he will be happy. Because I think he'd be fine playing there if he had faith in the organization.
Well, I mean, like, look, we are crushing the organization, but in the last 2 years, they've been awful. But previous to that with Marvin Lewis, they just couldn't win a playoff game. They were very competitive in the best division in football.
And the feeling, though, was that Marvin Lewis was almost working miracles just to get them in the playoffs consistently.
Well, they went from the Bengals to a consistent playoff team that couldn't win in the playoffs. Some of it, they were cursed. Carson tore his knee when he got a big contract. You know, they had the Vontaze Burfict penalty against the Pittsburgh Steelers where they found a way to lose that game. Like, there are many things that go bump in the night that kept them from winning just a playoff game. And then, then the roof kind of fell in, if you will. I'll just say this. To anyone who thinks the Bengals are going to trade that pick, not last season, season before, I did radio play-by-play of the Saints against the Bengals, and the Saints didn't punt the entire day. The game was over in like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It was a joke. It was such a blowout. And at the time, the Bengals had the worst defense in the history of the league. So I'm on the way to the airport. I call a couple of my friends, a friend of mine who's a GM in the league, and I was like, man, they got to fire everybody Monday morning. And he said, yep, 31 organizations would. The Bengals will not, because they're the Bengals. So while it might make sense to get a Pirates bounty for Joe Burrow from any of these teams that need a quarterback, right? He's really bright. He's agile. He played in a pro-style offense. He's a winner. He's a leader. And you think, well, sell the farm. Any other team would consider trading him, not the Bengals. They're not trading a kid from Ohio, son of a coach who just won a national championship as their #1 pick when they need a quarterback. He ain't being traded. So, Joe, if you're out there, put on a happy face, okay, and pretend like this is the greatest thing of all time. You go from not playing at LSU to being okay your first year, winning a national championship, being the #1 pick in the NFL draft. Put on a happy face, dude. You're going to be wearing stripes.
Yeah, things seem to be trending up there. All right, we're going to transition.